Sam, Angelique talked a little bit about how the first few games went too fast for, with the inexperience and stuff. Did you sense that early, and was that kind of a strategy of yours, maybe, get up and take advantage of your experience?
Oh, sure. I think having played, this was my third Grand Slam semi-final, for sure that's a good, thing to have in your back pocket, playing someone who's never been in one before. And if I could get off to a good start, then that was going to be a bonus. I always want to try and do that anyway, but I guess in a situation like this, if you really can get going fast and put your opponent under pressure, that's even better.
What were you telling yourself before the start of the third set? You put yourself into so much adversity already this tournament, and it felt like you were just doing it to yourself again.
Well, I went off, changed my clothes again, and just tried to settle down and really just think about what was going on. And that second set did go by pretty fast, and really felt like I was under the pump the whole time. And just tried to, think about what my game plan was, how I was executing that in the first set to get that lead, and basically just come out and try and do it again. I knew I had to try and change some things, not drastically, just little subtle changes, and if I could get a good start in the third, then that was the goal, and thankfully I did.
Do you feel like this tournament, you've been out on the court a lot of hours at this tournament, does it sort of feel that way? Even, going through the semifinals is a long run anyway, but does it really feel like it's been more than many matches?
Yeah, I think there's been lots of obstacles to get through this tournament, and to come through the way I have, I'm really proud of myself for that. And now to be in the final, and I guess getting through those first couple of third and fourth rounds where they were pretty tough matches, and now I guess having a few days off with rain, and now physically feel fine again. So I guess that's a good thing, but to get through all those things along the way is definitely very pleasing.
How did you feel about playing the semi-final on a grandstand court of a major?
Well, given the circumstances, I wasn't too impressed with the scheduling, the way everything had turned out. I mean, I understand it's a tricky situation, but I think things could have been done a little bit differently, or communication could have been better to express why things were going to happen the way they happened. And in the end, grandstand's a fantastic court, and it was great atmosphere out there, and I loved every second of it. So that wasn't the point then. It was just trying to stick up for what I thought was the right thing, and unfortunately it didn't happen.
You've been in a couple of...
Your opponent tomorrow will have a significant disadvantage. I mean, obviously they haven't gone on yet. If it was flipped, would you feel a little bit of a disadvantage if you were in that scenario?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously now that hasn't turned out the way they wanted it either. So it's one thing after the other. So it was. I felt like we had the disadvantage before this match, considering Caroline and Serena were told they were going on at 8 o'clock, 24 hours before we even had a start time and a court. So everything's kind of gone a little crazy and haywire. So I guess I'll be back in my hotel while they're still playing, which is a good thing. But it's a final, so everyone's going to be out there to as ready as what anyone can be.
Did it feel like it took away from the semi-final atmosphere compared to your previous experiences at this level?
I don't know. I guess you always want to play on the big stage, but like I said, grandstand, this was my third match out there now, and every time it's been fantastic. And like I said, I loved every second of it out there, and I'm just happy to get through it and now be in the final.
You spoke about being...
Grand Slam victory mean for you? You've been grinding for a long time now.
Yeah, it'd be an absolute dream come true. It's great that now I've got a second chance to try and win one of these titles, and I'll definitely go out there and give it my best shot. And I know it's going to be extremely difficult, and I'm going to have to play really well to try and win. But that's what you play for, and you want to get into these situations, and I'm just really looking forward to it.
What about tomorrow, Sam? Obviously it's the 10th anniversary of 9/11. It's a major final, but how much does that all add to it, particularly if Serena?
Yeah, I think obviously New York at this time of year, things change a little bit. Obviously, the city feels a little bit different, and there's, we all know what happened 10 years ago. So now to be playing a final on that day, there's going to be obviously a lot of maybe sadness and everything else, but it's also a great day for us to be playing the final. So I guess it's a time to remember what happened, but also to, maybe get through it, and hopefully we can have a good match.
If you do play Serena, that it'll be more than just a Grand Slam final, wouldn't it? The US Open, your 9/11 10th anniversary.
Oh, sure. I think playing Serena in a final of any slam is kind of bigger than maybe most other matches, but obviously home crowd favourite, American. It's going to be great atmosphere if it's her, and if it's not her, then it's going to be fantastic as well. So we'll see what happens and whoever my opponent ends up being.
Sam, you've been through so much, sort of the doubles to singles swing, so to speak, serious injury, the setback in the Roland Garros final, some struggles since. What would it mean to Samantha Stoser to hold up the U.S. Open trophy tomorrow?
Oh, like I said before, it'd be a dream come true. This is something I've wanted to do since I first started playing tennis, and I've been playing for nearly 20 years now, so it's been a long run to try and get to this point again, and obviously I had that chance at the French Open and wasn't able to take it, and now I'm just happy I've given myself another opportunity. So I've got to just go out there and use a little bit of that experience from last year and really go after it and see what I can do. But it would be obviously the major highlight of my career.
Do you have any memories of Patrick's wins here?
Yeah, I was just saying when I was up in the gym cooling down, it was I remember watching him and not going to school until his match was finished, and I told Mum and Dad I'm not going to school until it's done, and I'm watching every point of it. So now it's kind of funny to think that I'm now in that situation Pat was in, and maybe there'll be kids doing the same thing that I did.
Sam, what were you doing 10 years ago on 9/11 when the attacks happened here?
I was playing 10,000 events in Japan. I played 4 of them, and I think it happened during the 3rd event, and there was 5 of us travelling in a group together, and one of the other girls called my room and said, turn on the TV, look what's going on, and we didn't know what was happening, and I was 17 years old, and we were just travelling around. We were kids really just trying to play tennis tournaments, and then we went to the courts and saw everything on TV, and obviously all of a sudden going out to play your match seemed quite irrelevant, but it was definitely a huge shock, and we didn't really know what was happening. Obviously in Japan there's not too much English information around the place, so we just did our best to find out what was happening.
When you lost the French Open final, did you think, I'll definitely have another chance, next time I'll get it? Did you worry a little bit, maybe this was my one chance at this point in my career?
Yeah, well, for sure, because it had never happened up until that point, so you never know if it is going to happen again. And multiple people came up to me and said, you're going to get another chance, don't worry, you can come back and make it again. And of course you want to believe that, but until it happens you never know if that's the case. So now to be able to turn it around again and have this result is, I guess they were right, and now I've got another chance to try and win one.
From an Australian perspective, Sam, as well, it's been 31 years since the last female major champion. Do you think about that and how historic that would be for Australia? Yeah,
obviously I went through all those records when the French Open happened, and everyone was saying how long it had been, and so now it's kind of that same thing all over again. So it would be fantastic if I could do that and break that drought and set a new record, I guess. But going out on the court, I'm not thinking about anything like that. I go out there and try and focus on the next point, and if that ends up being the case, then that's great.
I want to ask you, you have victories against Williams and Wozniacki in your career, so how do you approach tomorrow? I know you don't know who you're facing, but can you address facing each of them and the challenges and your confidence level?
Yeah, I think obviously I have played both of them, and I think the one good thing is that one of the matches I beat Serena was actually in a Grand Slam, so I think that's obviously a big confidence booster if I end up playing her, to know that I've been able to do it in a major tournament. But every tournament's new, and she's obviously been playing extremely well, and once she comes back, and I'm sure it's always to win Grand Slam titles, so it's going to be tough if it's against her. And then against Caroline, I don't know what the records are. I think we've had 2-2 or 3-2. But again, if it's her, she wants to try and get a Grand Slam, and obviously there's that big monkey on her back, and everyone talks about it, so she's going to be out there to do her best as well. So either way, it's going to be tough. Obviously, different game styles, but I'll be trying to put forward my best tennis, and hopefully it's going to stack up.
A few more questions, Bill.
Samantha, great professional, known for your hard work. You make this incredible run at Roland Garros, and then, let's face it, a really devastating defeat. As a professional athlete, what is your takeaway lesson from that? What do you do from that?
Well, it was extremely disappointing to obviously lose that match, but I think as time's gone on, I've been able to accept that I think Francesca played very, very well. I probably didn't play my best, but maybe under the circumstances, that's why. She played extremely well, and it was her day. So, you know, I don't beat myself up about it anymore, and have taken it for what it is, and can still look back on that tournament as a great achievement. I'm happy with what I did. So I guess now, having been in that position, I want to make sure that I put everything out there, and you know, if there's a shot to be hit, I want to hit it. I don't want to hold back and regret anything like that. But I guess just being in a Grand Slam final is, for the first time, is hopefully going to be harder than the second time, and I'll be able to handle it even better.